It's not a tactic Emmerdale often employs, using music over the top of the actors. It's more a movie technique. But since Corriedale, it has become more obvious that it's something Emmerdale are trying out. We had it over the top of much of Corriedale. It was then obvious in the flashback scenes to Ray's murder last week. As the black and white clips of previous episodes showed, dramatic music was playing. Once again, it took over when Paddy locked Bear away for his own safety. And last night, Wednesday, January 28th, it was even more noticeable as Graham returned to home farm. Kim's opera music was playing in the background, with it reaching crescendo as Graham walked in. The incidental music kicked in and became louder once again as Graham was arrested at the end of the episode before it rolled into the credits. On some occasions, this does serve to heighten the drama, and in the case of Graham revealing himself to Kim and Joe on Tuesday night, January 27th, it made it unapologetically camp, and we loved it. But there are plenty of fans who are not loving it, not at all. Fans hit out. A Reddit thread is dedicated to people hitting out at the annoying format change. I thought the Hollyoaks-esque background music was a temporary artifact of Corriedale, but it seems it's here to stay. Is anyone else finding it incredibly irritating? Asked the thread starter. Others quickly agreed. I'm also finding it annoying. It's like they're wringing out any remaining realism. It shows contempt for viewers, like we're too thick to understand what emotions we should be feeling, said another angry fan. A third added, it's so unnecessary, and the producers, etc., need to remember that it's a soap, not a cinematic blockbuster. Longtime viewers being alienated again. I'm not a fan either. It just isn't what I expect in a soap, commented someone else. They added, it certainly wasn't needed today. The actors held my attention perfectly well. Over on X, the sentiment was much the same. OMG, what is the music in the Graham scenes? I hate it. That's not what Emmerdale or Corrie is. Great episode, but lose the music. It's not needed. WTF is this annoying music playing behind the speech? It's giving me a headache. I won't watch if this continues. There are some who think it works pretty well. One hit back, I'll never understand why people complain every time a soap is the slightest bit artistic or creative. Another added, I think it's good putting intense music in the background like today's episode. So, where do you stand? Emmerdale has never been afraid to evolve. Over its 5-decade history, the ITV soap has reinvented itself countless times, from gentle, rural drama to hard-hitting, issue-based storytelling, from quiet character moments to explosive stunts designed to rival primetime dramas. But its latest creative shift has struck a nerve with viewers in a way few recent storylines have managed to do. A growing number of fans are now accusing Emmerdale of showing contempt for viewers, as the show began using incidental background music more prominently, a cinematic technique that many believe has no place in a traditional soap. What some see as a bold artistic flourish, others see as an unnecessary distraction that undermines realism, insults audience intelligence, and risks alienating longtime fans. And judging by the reaction online, this is not a minor gripe. A noticeable change in style. For decades, Emmerdale has relied on performances, dialogue, and atmosphere to carry its drama. Music was largely confined to opening and closing credits, pub jukeboxes, or diegetic background sounds that existed naturally within scenes. That's why many viewers were caught off guard when sweeping, dramatic music began playing over dialogue, a technique more commonly associated with films or high-budget streaming dramas. The shift first became obvious during Corriedale, when music underscored large sections of emotional scenes. At the time, some viewers assumed it was a one-off experiment designed to give the special episodes a distinct feel. But that assumption quickly proved wrong. Music takes center stage in Ray's murder flashbacks.
The next major use came during the flashback episodes revealing Ray Walter's murder. As black and white clips replayed key moments from previous episodes, dramatic music swelled underneath, guiding viewers' emotions and heightening the sense of tragedy. Then came the tense moment when Paddy locked Bear away for his own safety, once again accompanied by an intrusive musical score that some fans felt overwhelmed the actors' performances rather than complimenting them. By this point, concern was growing. Graham's return sparks fresh backlash. The debate exploded during Wednesday night's episode, January 28th, when Graham Foster returned to Home Farm. As Graham entered the Tate stronghold, Kim's opera music was playing in the background, rising steadily toward a dramatic crescendo as the two characters faced one another once more. For some viewers, it was gloriously camp, almost tongue-in-cheek in its theatrical excess. For others, it crossed a line. Later in the episode, as Graham was arrested and led away, the incidental music surged again, rolling directly into the end credits, a stylistic choice that left many fans fuming. It's not Emmerdale anymore. Almost immediately, social media filled with complaints, confusion, and outright anger. A Reddit thread quickly emerged dedicated entirely to the music, with fans debating whether the change signaled a worrying new direction for the soap. I thought the Hollyoaks-esque background music was a temporary artifact of Corriedale, but it seems it's here to stay. Is anyone else finding it incredibly irritating?
I'm also finding it annoying, one viewer replied. It's like they're wringing out any remaining realism. Another fan was even more scathing. It shows contempt for viewers, like we're too thick to understand what emotions we should be feeling. For many longtime fans, that sentiment cut to the heart of the issue. Accusations of insulting the audience. A recurring complaint among critics is that the music feels manipulative, as though the show no longer trusts viewers to interpret scenes for themselves. Rather than allowing silence, subtlety, or performance to do the work, the music tells the audience exactly how to feel and when. One Reddit user put it bluntly, "It's so unnecessary, and the producers need to remember that it's a soap, not a cinematic blockbuster. Longtime viewers being alienated again." Another added, "I'm not a fan either. It just isn't what I expect in a soap. The actors held my attention perfectly well." For these fans, the issue isn't just annoyance, it's identity. What makes a soap a soap? At the center of the debate is a bigger question. What should a soap be? British soaps have traditionally thrived on realism, routine, and relatability. They're meant to feel grounded, like life unfolding next door, not like a stylized drama with an emotional score guiding every beat. Critics argue that incidental music breaks that illusion. One fan commented, "Once you start doing this, you might as well add slow motion and filters. It stops feeling real." Another warned, "This is exactly how soaps lose their core audience, by trying to be something they're not." X, Twitter, erupts in anger. Over on X, the reaction was just as fierce. "OMG, what is the music in the Graham scenes? I hate it. That's not what Emmerdale or Corey is. Great episode, but lose the music. It's not needed. What the F is this annoying music playing behind the speech? It's giving me a headache. I won't watch if this continues." Some fans even suggested they were considering switching off entirely if the format remains unchanged, a serious threat at a time when soaps are already fighting declining ratings. Not everyone hates it. Despite the backlash, not all viewers are opposed to the change. A vocal minority has rushed to Emmerdale's defense, arguing that soaps need to evolve to survive, and that experimentation should be welcomed, not punished. One fan hit back, "I'll never understand why people complain every time a soap is the slightest bit artistic or creative." Another added, I think it's good putting intense music in the background like today's episode. It added to the drama. Supporters argue that television has changed and that Emmerdale must compete not just with other soaps, but with glossy streaming dramas that use cinematic techniques as standard. Camp or cringe? Interestingly, even some critics admitted that the music worked in specific moments. When Graham dramatically revealed himself to Kim and Joe earlier in the week, the operatic score gave the scene an unapologetically theatrical edge. It was so over the top, but in that moment, it kind of worked, one fan admitted. It leaned into the camp.